Welcome, Panther Nation football fans, to another edition of Growlin and Prowlin. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo, talking all things Carolina Panthers, from the regular season, postseason, and Super Bowl, from the offseason, the draft, and OTAs. Let the growling begin. Welcome back, all you Panther fans and football fanatics all alike. Glad to have you back here, Growlin and Prowlin. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Like and add us to your friends list on Facebook. Be sure to go over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and share with your friends, if you will, if you like the content. And if not, you just... if you would, start commenting, if you will. Go to the Facebook page, comment on the, or take the poll that we're going to have up. Is Frankie Luvu the next superstar to emerge from this defense? Also, go to my Instagram. If you like the content, if you will, please leave a comment there. If there's other ways I can make the show better, or we can make the show better, please do so. Let's also... before we get into the monologue, guys, please make sure you check out Gridiron Gab. That's pro style. It's where I discuss the big stories of all 32 teams, if you will, as well as Gridiron Gab Triple Option, which is coming out. That's going to be the new college show that we're going to do. We talk about and discuss all things college football, as well as You Be the Juror. That's another show that I'm going to be involved with. So, guys, go to YouTube and check those out. They all will have Facebook pages, so please go and check those out as well. And if you want to keep up with the shows and you couldn't keep up with my blabbing, go to my Instagram. They have them all listed at my Instagram. But let's talk a little bit about the one Frankie Luvu. I think Jeremy Chinn gets so much credit for the things that he does that I think it's kind of safe to say we actually have two Jeremy Chinns on the team, wouldn't you say? You know, you look at Frankie Luvu, and a lot of the things that he does just really goes under the radar. He's such a dynamic presence when he's on the field, and what really makes him different is his ability to fly all over the field. And he does it at such a dynamic pace. And I really didn't know this until I was doing research on this guy. I did not know he made the Pro Bowl as a special teamer. And I was just sitting there looking at that, and I was like, wow. And, you know, what's really amazing about it is when you look at his numbers and then compare them to Jeremy Chinn's, let's do last year's and as opposed to his, and then you do the real comparisons. You get to talking about a guy who has been phenomenally good in so many different areas. You know, he had 111 tackles last year, and then you look at what Jeremy Chinn was able to do in a way, shape, and form, and it's just kind of like, it kind of takes you aback because you're looking at this guy and you're saying, okay, how good is this guy? And let's look at his rookie year, as in Jeremy Chinn's. He had 117. Now, last year, Jeremy Chinn's numbers were down because he was injured somewhat, and then he played more safety last year. But this is really amazing when you look at what Frankie Luvu is doing at such a high level. And I'm just looking at him and I'm saying, okay, this is a guy that we got to keep. We got to keep him. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. But, you know, I pulled up an article that was so interesting, and most people don't remember this a lot. I remember this because I remember thinking, okay, is he going to be the answer? And I wasn't like, okay, he shouldn't be here. I was glad we re-signed Frankie Luvu, and believe it or not, this was a year ago. And this was, I think, not long. I remember yelling in my seat, we got to re-sign Hassan Reddick. And, I was like, this is not boding well. This is not looking good. Because if they re-sign him, why are we signing this? And then it was like they were putting all of this into he and Gross Matos and Marcus Haynes. And now, don't get me wrong, when he had his snaps last season, he was great. I mean, we look at his numbers, and it's just off the charts. I mean, you got a guy that had 111 total tackles, 7 sacks. This is at the linebacker position, people. 7 sacks. Okay? He had an interception that went back for a pick 6. And what's really interesting about Frankie Luvu is first he started his career as a New York Jet. And if you look, and I put the stats up there for this reason, because you look at it and it's like, well, New York, what are you thinking? For the limited amount of snaps this guy was getting, it's like, and I wish the NFL would take this into consideration, putting snaps on defensive players, how many snaps they take. Because my boy Amari Barno would be out, everybody would be paying attention to this guy for the number of snaps he took. But, I'm still fighting for him. Because to me, I believe that they're talking about moving Luvu to the inside this year. I think he needs to rotate in and out. And I know what people are going to say. Well, Jeremy Chin's going to be playing that role. But, I think those two need to rotate out because Luvu is so much better. A lot of people don't know. There's a difference between seeing the ball from the middle of the field and seeing it from the outside from of the field. But Coach Avero knows what he's doing. And, hopefully this is not a situation that hurts him as far as his numbers go and his effectiveness. That's the most important thing is his effectiveness, and then you couple that with the talent of Brian Burns, Derek Brown, even Shaq Thompson. That's a guy people forget about. Jeremy Chin, Xavier Woods, those guys, and you just have to really, really acknowledge the greatness that is Frankie Luvu. And the scary part is he's been in the league 5 years, and honestly, this is just me. I think he's going to get better. He is going to get better. And then when you start looking at some of the new faces we got, especially Von Bell, when you get a new face in like Von Bell, who's really going to understand certain coverages and how to cover back there, there's going to be a difference out there. And then, of course, with Coach Avero being here, there's going to be different things that come in. Not saying that the previous coordinators are not doing a great job, which they did. Our defense was really good. But, we've got guys like Henry Anderson and as well as Shy Tuttle that are going to show some real promise up front, and Deshaun Williams. These guys are really going to be some beasts up front. This defensive line is going to be really good. These front seven, I think Coach Avero is going to take these guys to another level. I think we're going to have, I'm looking at the guys that are on this roster, and I'm thinking to myself, we're going to have a lot of rotational pieces. So when you run, in my opinion, you run a 3-4 that's very rotational. Guys like Frankie Luvu are going to be fresh. He's going to be out there making plays. He's already overly energetic. He makes so many plays. And as I said, he was a guy that made the Pro Bowl as a special teamer. And you're watching this guy fly all over the field and just making plays. And that's what impresses me so much about him, is he just makes plays. And you can't stop a guy that's just going to make plays. He's that guy, And if Brian Burns ever gets to that point where he's making plays, that's what he wants to do every play. I'm not saying he's not playing his best, but I think Brian Burns separates getting sacks for making plays. Jeremy Chin's out there making plays. And if you can get all of these guys on the same page or giving them that Frankie Luvu effect, oh my goodness, there's no telling how good this team can be defensively. We could see a repeat of the 2015 Panthers where the defense was just causing turnovers left and right, creating plays. They have the players to do it. And Frankie Luvu was one of those guys. He was causing fumbles, scooping up balls and taking them to the house. And he's just one of those guys that is just making plays. And we're seeing the videos here as of now, where he's just out there making big plays, picking up balls and taking them to the house, you know. And I know Coach Avero was talking about primarily Jeremy Chin, but we have to remember, you're going to have Frankie Luvu next to Shaq Thompson, who's played with Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. So he understands the transition aspect of playing from the wheel linebacker to moving inside. Most people don't know that was where Shaq was playing, the wheel linebacker before Luke Kuechly left. So he understands the transition part of it. As you know, like I said, we're going through and we're looking at so many of his different highlights, and it's amazing to see how quick he gets to the football and how often he tackles the football at such a high intensity. He's such a good tackler. And you see him getting pressure on the QB here, and you know, I sit and I get in awe watching this guy do his thing, because this is a guy that we signed for, I'm gonna say pennies and nickels. I don't care what anybody says. They can say that for a linebacker is not a lot, but for a guy that was a 4-year guy not getting his deal, his 5th-year deal, and the Panthers signed him for what they signed him for. Looks like 2 years, $9 million. And basically he's going to make, $4 million this year? I mean, you're talking about a guy that's making 5 this year, and then he's going to... Bro, if he wanted to, he could opt out and say, hey, look, I want another deal. I showed you guys what I can do. I mean, just looking at the highlights that we're looking at right now, just... to me, disperses any kind of criticism that anybody wants to give. I just hope he doesn't get hurt. As I said, Frankie Luvu deserves his flowers. You're talking about a guy that had 111 tackles, like as I said, and 7 sacks. This is almost as many as he had. This is as much as he had as a Jet. So, I believe there are great things in store for him because he's such a ferocious tackler. And as I said, it's one of those things where I think Coach Avero could still use him on special teams, because I think we've got so many guys out there that can play in his spot. I think what needs to happen is we need to give Amari Barno, and DJ Johnson their opportunities as well. Because we can't forget that Frankie Luvu was still a dangerous special teams presence out there. He's really that good. As you see in one of these highlights, he's doing his thing, stripping a ball out in that Houston game. But, let me know what you guys think about our soon-to-be superstar Pro edge player. That's what we call him, but he's going to be a middle linebacker this year. Let me know what you think. Go to our Facebook page at Growlin and Pounding and tell me if you think Frankie Luvu's the next superstar Carolina Panther. Don't forget, go to our my Instagram, and let me know what you think of the show, how we can make it better, and what guy you'd like to see, what player you'd like to see me profile next. As well as go to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to walk out when you leave here. You hit subscribe, like, and basically check out my other channels, from Gridiron Gab Pro Style to Gridiron Gab Triple Option to You Be the Juror, as well as stopping by here and always making sure that you take a little time to give me a shout out. And as always, keep prowling the airways and
prowling out. Keep pounding.